across the snow-covered forests and desolate tundra of northern Canada. From Ontario to the shores of Hudson Bay, lurks one of the most chilling figures in First Nations folklore, born from the stories of the Algonquin-speaking peoples, including the Cree, Ojibwe, and Innu. Wendigo is more than just a monster. It is a terrifying spiritual embodiment of hunger, isolation, and human weakness. Its legend has persisted for centuries, evolving from ancient oral traditions into a symbol of deep psychological and cultural dread. According to traditional beliefs, the Wendigo was once a human, a person who, driven to desperation by starvation during a brutal winter, turned to cannibalism. But this act of consuming human flesh, especially out of greed or selfish survival, triggered a horrific transformation. The individual's soul would be lost, and their body would become twisted and stretched into a grotesque creature, towering, emaciated, and the Wendigo would be cursed to wander the forests endlessly, always starving, always seeking its next victim. Descriptions of the Wendigo vary across communities and time, but common features include sunken eyes, rotting skin, and some tales. It has glowing eyes and jagged teeth. In others, it is covered in ice, with a foul stench and a voice that mimics cries for help to lure people into the woods. No matter the version, the Wendigo represents the danger of giving in to one's darkest urges. A cautionary tale about the fine line between survival and monstrosity. What makes the Wendigo legend even more terrifying is the belief that it can possess the living, known as Wendigo psychosis. This condition was historically described by indigenous communities and later recorded by colonial settlers as a mental state where individuals believed they were turning into Sufferers would become withdrawn, paranoid, and obsessed with thoughts of cannibalism, sometimes even begging to be killed to prevent themselves from harming others. One of the most disturbing historical accounts of Wendigo psychosis occurred in 1878, involving a Cree man named Swift Runner, during a harsh winter. Swift Runner, who had previously served as a guide for the Northwest Mounted Police, was found to have killed and eaten his entire family, his wife and 6 children, despite being within reach of a Hudson Bay Company trading post. When arrested, he calmly confessed to the murders and claimed he had been possessed by the spirit of the Wendigo. He was later tried and executed by hanging in Fort Saskatchewan throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries. Other cases of suspected Wendigo possession were documented in northern Ontario and Quebec. Some communities went so far as to appoint Wendigo hunters or shamans, whose role was to detect the spirit's presence and perform rituals or, in extreme cases, execute the afflicted to protect the community. While many colonial doctors dismissed these as superstitions, the fear of the Wendigo was very real and deeply rooted in cultural and spiritual understanding. The arrival of Western psychiatry and the spread of Christianity largely diminished belief in Wendigo psychosis, but the legend itself never disappeared. In fact, it has only grown in power and reach, inspiring horror novels, films, and video games. In modern pop culture, the Wendigo has appeared in everything from Supernatural and Hannibal to Until Dawn and Marvel Comics, often portrayed as a symbol of uncontrollable greed or primal violence. Yet for many First Nations people, the Wendigo is more than just a scary story. It is a powerful warning. It speaks to the dangers of losing touch with one's community, one's values, and one's balance with nature. In this way, the Wendigo reflects not only the terror of starvation in the wilderness, but also the spiritual decay caused by selfishness, colonial exploitation, and broken social bonds. Even today, elders in remote northern communities will tell stories of the Wendigo, especially during the long, dark winters when food is scarce and isolation sets in. They speak in hushed tones, reminding the younger generation that the Wendigo is not just out there in the cold. It lives within each person's darkest thoughts and choices. It is the spirit that waits for weakness, for hunger, for madness, and once it enters, it never leaves. The forests of northern Canada are vast, cold, and quiet. And sometimes, when the snow crunches underfoot and the wind carries a distant cry, those who listen closely swear they can hear it. The sound of the Wendigo still wandering, still hunting, still hungry. And so, the legend of the Wendigo remains a spirit of the cold, a warning whispered through generations, and a nightmare that walks the snowy forests of northern Canada. Whether it is a tale of ancient survival, a metaphor for greed, or something far more real, the Wendigo reminds us that sometimes the greatest dangers lie within ourselves. If this haunting story gave you chills or sparked your curiosity, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to Your Home for spine-tingling legends, real-life mysteries, and stories the world dares not forget. Tap the bell icon so you never miss a tale that lurks just beyond the firelight.